Hello and welcome to the 105th episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. Labrador Retrievers have been a long-time personal favorite of mine, and today we are very honored to have as our guest David Fazzina of Somerset, Massachusetts, the owner and breeder of Arkham Labs. Welcome, Dave. It's good to see you again. Tell us about this fascinating breed.
Well, good to be here, Brian, and thank you. Well, Archie here is taking your cue and moving around, but Labrador Retrievers, I can tell everybody, never heard a bad story about a lab. And a lab is a great family pet, great around children. To me, they're an energetic breed, so you want a family that's going to be ready to go outside, play with the dog, go on hikes, go to the water. Obviously, they're a good water dog because they're a hunting dog as well. Many things.
They have a unique history.
Yes. I mean, for labs, as far as like hunting dogs, there are people who refer to them as a bird dog. So there are good hunting dogs, whether it's duck or regular like pheasant, things like that. But they're also good for many law enforcement, getting them for search and rescue. There's been some just as a canine law enforcement agent. There are service dogs where for emotional support. They got many talents to bring joy to people and service to people.
Interestingly enough, the lab is not indigenous to Labrador, to the Atlantic province. They were actually, the breed was actually developed in Newfoundland, Canada. Interesting.
Yes.
And they have a very long and very interesting history.
Well, in Newfoundland, they were actually used for fishing. The Newfoundland dog, with its curly coat, gets a little heavy in the ice. That's one of the reasons they use labs. But people refer to labs as usually either an English lab or an American lab. There's a bit difference in the body style. Mine is kind of, even though they're English, I try to get the ones and breed them to be a little bit more sleek and agile, which makes them, I think, look more attractive and more athletic.
Tell us about, they come in three colors.
Three colors. My dogs are AKC labs.
Registered.
So I go through the American Kennel Club, I register the litters, and they're sold with papers because I don't want to be just out there breeding any old dog. I look for the quality and health qualities of a dog, sometimes looking in pedigrees for championship in the bloodline, for people who want to show a dog. When you register a dog for AKC, a lab can only be yellow, black, and chocolate. Now, people talk about different color labs, white, silver, gray, red. They might look.
As a dog judge, I can say, no.
Disqualified. Can't compete one, right?
Of course.
And just like with other breeds, though, there are new breeds all the time. But right now, color, yellow, chocolate, and black, I have all three. What I really like is having one litter have all three color at the same time.
There really is no preference to color, is there?
Depends on each year to year.
Personal preference.
Personal preference, but year to year. Do you remember the movie Marley and Me?
Yes.
Everybody wanted a yellow lab. You go through different times, more people are interested in chocolate and more are interested in a black. I like it when I can have all three colors in a litter because then I can cater to whatever needs. Some people would prefer.
Do you have a preference?
Me? Chocolate.
Why?
I think probably somewhere I saw a picture of, or a show or a movie of somebody sitting on a rocking chair on a porch with a chocolate lab. I said, I want that to be me. And my first lab was a chocolate, Abby.
Now we have a very handsome yellow lab, and I first met you at The health, where we were having physical therapy.
Mount Hope Physical Therapy, yeah.
Mount Hope Physical Therapy.
We sat down, we started talking, because I knew that you were a dog lover and that you did competition shows. And I walked over, we started talking. I know I'd mentioned to you that when I got into breeding, it was, my first one was Abby, and the male that I used was Quinn, a yellow male. And on the birthday of that first litter happened to fall on the 1-year anniversary of my father passing away. Father passed away in 2009. They were born in 2010. And it did a lot for me.
Very symbolic.
Yes. It was, I saw life come into the world on the same date that I saw life leave the world. And it helped me with coping with the loss of my dad, but it also gave me a joy of seeing life come into the world. And from that day is when I decided I wanted to be a breeder.
What are some of the activities your dogs have done with their owners?
Well,
it's a versatile breed that really is open to every possibility.
It is. I mean, I do have one that is a service dog up in Maine for somebody who, I believe they have either autism or Asperger's, but the dog went there to help out there. I've had dogs that are with families that love to go hiking, and I love getting pictures of them hiking with a beautiful backdrop and somebody sitting there looking at the backdrop and the dog sitting right next to them watching it. I had one that went home to a gentleman who had never trained a dog before. He got a DVD to learn how to train it to do duck hunting. And at 5 months of age, sent me a video of that dog bringing back its first duck. So anything from being a hiking partner to retrieving ducks to being a support dog for somebody with emotional problems or physical handicaps, they can do just about everything.
They are good in confirmation, obedience,
yes,
rally. People have used them for very popular now with dock diving.
Yes, that is a thing that I would like to get into with mine. This one here, I don't own. This is one that I bred, went home. He was born November 27th last year, so he's only like 4 months old. He lives, I think it's like in Hull or somewhere up that way. But I get to see Archie every once in a while, and something I like to do is stay in touch with the owners. I tell them that I'm going to support that dog's life the rest of its life, if they want me to. I love getting pictures, videos, updates. I like staying in touch with them. And somebody could have a problem or a question, and they can always reach out to me. And if I don't have an answer, I'll get them one, because I want to support that dog all the time, not just up until the day of sale.
You are a very conscientious breeder.
It's the only way I could do it. When I go to bed at night, I have to be able to sleep with myself. As long as I know I've done things right, I'm good. And this guy, is he?
He's taking a nap.
Now, labs can be very energetic, and they can also be just a good buddy, just to sit there and be with you. It's good comfort just to have a companion. And I don't know, like I said, there's nothing I can say that I've ever heard of a bad story about a lab. All my dogs, when I breed pups, I try to help train them, house train them, house break them. When the puppy goes home, it's the worst day of their life, because they're taken away from their mother, their siblings, the only people they know, and the only home they know. So I try to ease that for them, which easing it for the puppy makes it better for the owner. When an owner comes to pick out their puppy, I ahead of time have asked them to get a new hand towel, and for every person and pet in that family, I want them to put their scent on it. Put it in a Ziploc bag, put your name on it, put the dog's name on it. The last week I have that puppy, I introduced that to them. When that puppy goes home, everything's going to be new, except for that. It's going to be a familiar scent, and it helps that puppy get comforted by that scent, which is the owner, and lets them bond quicker. I also, in the last week, start crate training them, because they're so used to being in a pen with all their siblings. I break it down so that there's 3 per crate a couple nights, and then 2 per crate, and then 1 per crate. so that that first night at home, it's not their first time in a crate. They're a little bit used to it. I even take them for 3 car rides. One Archie. One is to the vet, of course, because I have a hands-on. Archie, psst. I know you hear the voices. Come on, here, psst. Archie.
Archie is very alert.
Obviously, they get 1 car ride to the vet because all my dogs get a vet checkup, get a clearance before they go home. But 2 other times, I take them for car rides. This way, the first time you take them home, not their first time in a car, and they don't get sick, they don't get nervous. I try to make it so it's easier for the new owner, and they can call and ask questions all they want. I've had 2 pups from this litter have come back to me for a little bit of training with them, and training the pup is easy. It's training the owners on what expectations
How do
they should
you
have.
train your dogs, for example?
Consistency. Everything you do, everybody in the home has to do it the same way. If I say sit and you say sit down and somebody else says down, dog's going to be confused. Consistency, using single syllable words, using as little words as possible. I also teach with hand signs. I have sit, down, up, stay, come. Single words, single syllable. And that's how I train them. I try to give a tip sheet to people who buy from me. And I tell them, these work with my dogs. These have worked, some of these have worked with your puppy. If you continue to use that, if you ever need help with me, they're going to go with the same, the same words. In the dog training world or in the show world, dogs are always held on the left-hand side. I tell people, try and do that because that's how I walk my dogs. Dog is on the left. When I walk my dogs, they're not pulling me. I tell them, when you go for a walk, you should enjoy it as much as the dog. The dog shouldn't be pulling you, and you shouldn't be dragging the dog. Both should enjoy a nice walk. I don't do a lot of treat training. I do a lot of praise training. With a pup, you do use a treat. And then if it's one every time, and he's got it good, then you do one every other time, then one every third time, and you wean him away from it. But every time, you praise him. And another important fact is I tell people, don't push your luck. End on a good note. If you think you can get 1 or 2 more out of him, but you've gotten 3 in the good ones in a row, stop, praise him, go back again another time. If you try to push your luck and he doesn't do what you want, you're ending on a bad note, you're frustrated, they sense it. That dog knows everything of how you feel. If you're happy, you're sad, you're sick, they sense it. Dogs are much smarter than people. He's agreeing with me. Archie. Psst. Thank you.
Good boy. Talk about grooming. Labs are really not that difficult to groom, are they?
They're not difficult, but they do shed a lot of fur.
They do.
They do. And I guess it depends on the color of your interior of your home.
And how do you combat that?
Brush them as often as you can.
Outdoors?
Outdoors is preferable, unless it's really windy. Give them baths when you can. I've used my bathtub to do a lot of baths during the off season. During the summer, I have those small kids pools, use the water. I have a plumber coming tomorrow. I'm putting hot water outside, just so I can mix it and give them a nice warmer bath. But they don't require a lot of work. And ironically, one of my older females, who's 12, she chews her own nails and taught all the rest of them to chew their nails. I have a cement kennel. Total kennel is 24 by 21, and when they play around there, it files them down some more. If people have a yard, the dog doesn't have that opportunity. But it's important to make sure that their nails are clipped. I tell people, when you get your dog home, every day, touch their paws, touch their ears. From the day they're born, I take puppies and I put them on their back and I rub their belly and I tell them they're safe in my hands. Right from day one. Some people might say that's too early. I do it every day. When my puppies are old enough to eat dog food out of a bowl, every day I put my hand in that bowl, and I let them know it's okay for me to put my hand there. Because a puppy could go home to a family that has small children, don't know any better, and put their hands in there. Right? We don't want a dog to snap at them, no matter what the breed is. But I try to do this with my dogs to avoid a bad confrontation. I tell them touch their ears, touch their paws, because you should clean their ears. Labs are known for getting ear infections.
Yes.
So I tell people, like, I have a device at home that is a reminder. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., clean the dog's ears. And that's what we do. We use unscented baby wipes. Unscented baby wipes to wipe the outside. If it needs more, we have a clean flush that we use. And there's a medicated flush, and there's like an antibiotic flush. Just stay on top of it.
What is the lab's longevity?
12 to 13 years. I've talked to people who've had them 15, 16 actually. But 12 to 15 on a good healthy dog that's being taken care of. I always recommend using good food. There's pros and cons to everything. Me personally, I don't like dog foods that are corn-based. When I pick up a bag of dog food, if it has the word corn on it or the word byproduct, I put it right back down and walk away. I use good brands.
Is he coming back?
Don't let him get tied up in there. Archie, psst. Here. Psst.
Come on.
Sit.
Good boy. Nice boy.
And as I said, like, I don't use treats to train him. Only in the beginning as a pup, and then I wean away from it. I have 4 dogs at home. I take them outside, and I want to exercise them. I have a fenced-in yard. I throw a Kong rubber frisbee one time. They all run, one of them gets it, and they all come back. So I can do less work and get 4 runs out of it. I used to take them for walks all the time, 2.6 miles a day. It takes a lot of time for me. I still walk them just for the obedience factor of it, but the exercise twice a day, 10 a.m., 2 p.m., I have a reminder. I go out there, throw a frisbee around for 20 minutes, get them all exercised, let them get some water, and then I do a cool down lap. I walk around the yard, let them hover around me, and when they're all calm, we go back in the kennel. When I feed my dogs, I feed them all at the same time, and I can put down my food, I tell them spot, they all go to a certain spot. I put down each bowl, and I make them have eye contact with me.
Are they good eaters?
They're good eaters, but the point of this is I make them have eye contact with me, and I count anywhere between 2 and 8 seconds to myself, and then I say, okay, it's my food until it's their food, and they respect it. You're not going to forget to feed your dog, and I feed them twice a day. So if you do this twice a day, you're reinforcing training. Some people might say they don't have the time to do a lot of training. You're not going to forget to feed them. This takes 8 extra seconds, and they know that you're the pack leader.
Very good. What are some of the activities that people, you know, if a new owner wants to buy a lab, or what are some of the activities, different kinds of activities that owners can enjoy with their dogs?
Well, even the things that I was mentioning about how I exercise my dogs, whether you play with a frisbee or a ball, just go to a park. You know, I prefer not to go to dog parks, but if you find a nice dog park where you can go and play with the dog, get a place where you can throw that frisbee or throw a ball, they're getting the exercise. And
fly ball is a great activity.
Yep. There's competitions that you can get into doing with that. The dock diving, which is getting very popular, something I really want to get my dogs into.
And it's great with labs.
It is. And you can enjoy it as much as they enjoy it. They're having fun. They don't know they're competing. They're out there doing whatever they're doing, whether catching a frisbee, diving into the water. Jeff Patello, he does the agility courses.
And he's traveled all over the world.
All over the world. I've watched some shows where he was in Kansas City, other cities around the U.S., but he's done international travel. So if it's something you want to do with your dog, you can both benefit from it. I mean, I enjoy being around my dogs. They enjoy pleasing. A dog will enjoy pleasing its owner. It's just natural for them. You know, a lot of things that come natural to a dog when they get a puppy. I tell them, you know, I've had people say, oh, but they bite and they growl. And I have to remind them that when a dog is born, it only has instinct. You have to train it as to what's acceptable and what's not. You probably know this. When dogs lay down, they circle a lot before they lay down. Do you know why they do it?
Why? Tell me.
Out in the wild, in the tall grass, they would do that to mat down the grass and then lay on top of that. Now, dogs have been domesticated for a long time, but they still do that. And if you keep in mind, a dog can't communicate like you and I are right now. They don't have a vocabulary to talk. They don't have hands to play with. They play with their mouth. As a new owner, you have to know what is acceptable and what's not. I tell people, let your dog use their mouth on a pull toy. I have chew toys, fetch toys, pull toys. You have a pull toy like a rope or the 3 rubber rings. You let them pull with that, and you let them know that that's the only one that they can use their mouth on. When they're playing with you, if they're fetching a toy, when they bring it back, it's not to play pull. They're to drop it. And I just use get it, bring it, drop it. They get it, they bring it back, and they drop it. I don't want to have to take it out of their mouth. They learn those commands. If they don't want to do it, we're done.
Very interesting.
And I do enjoy it. I'm around them all the time. When 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock come, I'm looking forward to it as much as they are. Good weather, you know, they're outside. If there's not good weather, they're in the house. My dogs don't sleep outside. They're in my house, and when they go outside, I told you I have a big cement kennel, 24 by 12, has a hard roof cover over it. I keep them out of the direct sunlight. If it starts to rain, they're out of that, and it helps keep the snow out when I have to shovel the kennel. They play on the grasses when I'm out there, when they're running. But I do like taking them to a pond, getting them out there swimming. They enjoy it. I think I might try this year getting them into a canoe with me. We'll see how that goes.
That should be interesting.
Interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'll wear a wetsuit.
Very interesting. We have a picture, I'm going to put my glasses on, of this from the Somerset Police Department of Raider.
Raider, yeah.
A fabulous, he was on our show.
Yep. I haven't met him yet, but I've seen many pictures of him. I believe my neighbor Karen has many pictures to show me of him because she's met him. But
Raider was on our show when he was a young puppy. And great, there's a little story, a little blurb here that I'm going to, if I can use my other glasses. Says a Raider is an English lab. What is the difference between an English lab and an American lab?
For looks, best way for me to compare the two is start with the head. On an English head, they refer to it as blocky, and it is. It's this way. On an American, looks more like a German Shepherd. It's front to back. The skull is front to back. The snout is front to back. It's long this way, where the English style is blockier. The English body, the torso, the chest, and the stomach is kind of almost straight, like a sausage. In the American, they have a much more tapered waist, which to me, that looks a little bit more attractive and a little bit more athletic. English typically have a shorter leg, and the Americans have a longer. Americans are referred to as an American field lab, running through the field. When I look for ones that I've had to purchase to be a breeder for mine, I am looking for something that's more along English, but I like the traits of some of the American in English. They don't have an accent, though.
Very interesting. Raider was purchased by the Somerset Police Department as a comfort dog. That's really a wonderful thing. Every community should have a comfort dog.
Yes. Yep. And I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen on television some commercials where they're bringing comfort dogs into children's hospitals or even regular hospitals.
Great for children.
Absolutely.
To go to libraries, to bring dogs into libraries and have them read to children. Have the children rather read to the dog.
Okay, you had me there. But you look at him, right? He's very comfortable. He's met you once before at physical therapy, but he's just calm. If you can get one like that to be calm, he would be perfect to go up onto a bed with a child where he's not going to be rambunctious and moving around. And no day can't be made any better than by having a pup or dog be with you. It always brings a smile to everybody's face.
They're great with patients in nursing homes.
Yes.
And healthcare facilities. I know when my dad was a patient at a nursing home in Fall River, the patients used to love the days that we brought dogs. They got so much out of it.
Yeah. I mean, unless somebody's had a bad experience, with a dog in general, anytime somebody sees me walking my dog, they want to come to me. It brings joy to see a dog.
I'm sure they have a lot of questions too.
People do, and I love to spend time. I mean, I've gone for walks that's supposed to be 2.6 miles, and it winds up being a half mile because I stopped and talked with somebody and just talked to them about dogs. Whether it's about labs or not, I love to help anybody who has questions about dogs. My daughter's called me and has a cousin that bought a lab somewhere else and had questions. Have them call me. I don't care. I mean, if I can help out, I'm doing it because I want the dog to have a great life. And if I can make it easier for you, it's easier for the dog. I mean, I get a lot of help from another breeder in Rhode Island, from Wynwood Kennel. And my first male came from offspring from his kennel. And his dog, Maximilian, was the father of my Quinn. But Maximilian was also the father of one of the dogs that was Black Dog of Newport.
Wow.
So there's a little heritage there, but we breed for just all of the traits that you want in a dog. Even when people say about can't teach an old dog new tricks, you can. It's being consistent and having the right mindset. I tell people, before you want your dog to do something, think it in your head. Want to do what you want. Think it through. A dog I had sold a year earlier, I went to the house and the dog was being, pulling the owner around, and I just went psst and pointed, and the dog sat. And she said, "How'd you do that?" I said, "I just kind of, in my mind, had positive energy. I want you to sit." And then I went like that, and the dog laid down. And she's like, "How are you doing it?" I said, "Conveying positive energy." Most people, when they're trying to train, they're frustrated. Can't train a dog if you're frustrated. Have the right mindset and get into it to work together.
And on that note, I am going to invite you to come back. We are concluding. It has been a pleasure talking about Labradors for a half hour, and we'd like to have you come back.
I'd love to.
And I hope you will come back with another dog.
Well, I have a dog that is due with a litter next Thursday. So maybe when she has puppies and that puppy is 4 months old, we'll come back with one of her pups.
Wonderful. Thanks for coming, and it was great to see you once again.
My pleasure.
Well, folks, we're concluding the 105th episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you very much. I'm Brian Lowney.